theology. And music, Wilberforce University is a great music program. And some of the other colleges, Camden is a great program, Danville is a great program. These are some great schools.
Hi, my name is Jalen Tompkins. I'm from Rialto High School, and I got a full-ride scholarship to Dillard University. I feel it's pretty good. I feel pretty good about going to college. I want to help my family become very successful. That way, my kids in the future can have all the things that I didn't have as I don't have now.
Hi, I'm Natasha. I'm Jalen's mom. I am so proud of him. He's got a full ride to Dillard. He works hard. He's always been into school, and I've always encouraged him, and I feel good.
Okay, I'm Debbie Gens. I teach 4th grade at Garcia Elementary, and we've been working for an entire week on getting ready for the solar eclipse. Quite a bit of hoopla going on.
So what we did is 3 weeks prior to the total eclipse occurring, we made sure we went to as many Lowe's as we could to purchase the appropriate eclipse glasses for students to use. And each grade level is going to have an opportunity to view the eclipse process.
Kids are really excited about this once-in-a-lifetime thing to be able to see the eclipse live in action with their own eyes.
A solar eclipse was a great opportunity for the students to experience it as well as learn about it. So we used the district's curriculum along with our file folder here for the students to experience the solar eclipse and learn a bit of information about it.
Hi, I'm Miss Fasella, and this is Kane's Arcade. We have this going today. We've created arcade games. We've invited the whole school. We are doing Kane's Arcade. The kids are all engaged. We've been making these for about 3 weeks. We spend the end of our day making them.
Arcade with boxes, and we started with these two, and then I just brought this one and he brought these two. Then we invented like lots of certain like squares, and then if we throw a ball in there, we get like prizes. I brought the ball so we could put it in, and we named the game Fire.
Yep. They made all of these by themselves. They designed them by themselves. They created them by themselves. This is the emoji game, and this one was great because they actually had to figure out where the ball would go afterwards, and that was the problem because it was flying everywhere. We have a bunch of claw machines. That's always the most popular one. There's a claw machine over here, and the best thing about each different claw machine is that they're built differently. Here's our basketball game over here.
primarily for historically black colleges, so important because it's a great opportunity. And one thing people don't know, there's a myth, that HBCUs aren't just for African American students, they're for everybody. So everybody wants a diverse campus, and so do these universities.
And I
Wilberforce University has a great music program, and some of the other colleges, Hampton has a great program, Stanford has a great program. These are some great schools.
Hi, my name is Jalen Tompkins. I'm from Rialto High School, and I got a full-ride scholarship to Dillard University. I feel it's pretty good. I feel pretty good about going to college. I want to help my family become very successful. That way, my kids in the future can have all the things that I didn't have as I don't have now.
Hi, I'm Natasha. I'm Jalen's mom. I am so proud of him. He's got a full ride to Dillard. He works hard. He's always been into school, and I've always encouraged him, and I feel good.
Okay, I'm Debbie Gens. I teach 4th grade at Garcia Elementary, and we've been working for an entire week on getting ready for the solar eclipse. Quite a bit of hoopla going on.
So what we did is 3 weeks prior to the total eclipse occurring, we made sure we went to as many lows as we could to purchase the appropriate eclipse glasses for students to use. And each grade level is going to have an opportunity to view the eclipse process.
Kids are really excited about this once-in-a-lifetime thing to be able to see the eclipse live in action with their own eyes.
A solar eclipse was a great opportunity for the students to experience it as well as learn about it. So we used the district's curriculum along with our file folder here for the students to experience the solar eclipse and learn a bit of information about it.
Hi, I'm Miss Fasella, and this is Kane's Arcade. We have this going today. We've created arcade games. We've invited the whole school. We are doing Kane's Arcade. The kids are all engaged. We've been making these for about 3 weeks. We spend the end of our day making them.
Hi, my name is Daniel, and we made this arcade with boxes, and we started with these two, and then I just brought this one, and he brought these two. Then we invented like lots of certain like squares, and then if we throw the ball in there, we get like prizes and things. I brought the ball so we could put it there, and me and him come on the side. We named the game Fire.
Yep. They made all of these by themselves. They designed them by themselves. They created them by themselves. This is the emoji game, and this one was great because they actually had to figure out where the ball would go afterwards, and that was the problem because it was flying everywhere. We have a bunch of claw machines. That's always the most popular one. There's a claw machine over here, and the best thing about each different claw machine is that they're built differently. Here's our basketball game over here.
Here at the UCAN Recruitment Fair, and this is primarily for historically black colleges, so important because it's a great opportunity. And one thing people don't know, there's a myth that HBCUs aren't just for African American students, they're for everybody. So everybody wants a diverse campus, and so do these universities.
My name is Ruth Ayola, and I got accepted to the University of scholarships. Hi, my name is Imani Darby. I'm from Eisenhower High School. I got accepted into 2 colleges, Wilberforce University and Hampton University. I'm very excited, thrilled, and all the other stuff.
You ready? It's about to go down.
My name is Michelle Pernio. I'm from Rialto High School and I got accepted to Bowie University and Virginia State. My name is Ariel Rubio and I'm from Rialto High School and I got accepted to Bowie University and Virginia University. My name is Eliza Sears and I got accepted into Hampton University, and I would like to say thank you to Dina Walker for helping me get this far.
Theology and music. Wilberforce University is a great music program, and some of the other colleges, Camden is a great program, FAMU is a great program. These are some great schools.
Hi, my name is Jalen Tompkins. I'm from Rialto High School, and I got a full-ride scholarship to Dillard University. I feel it's pretty good. I feel pretty good about going to college. I want to help my family become very successful. That way, my kids in the future can have all the things that I didn't have as I don't have now.
Hi, I'm Natasha. I'm Jana's mom. I am so proud of him. He's got a full ride to Dillard.
I brought it because I thought you were already out of here. I said, "Oh, Joe left his belt." So I brought it.
Space out like it's home. Forget where left things.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. The time is now 7:09, and we will be convening the official meeting of the Rialto School Board. Can we stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance? We have a full scoreboard agenda, and first we'll have our third grade student, Haley Contreras, lead us in the pledge.
There's Haley. Please face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we're going to have Cesar Zamora, a talented kindergartner at Curtis Elementary School. He'll perform a solo mariachi song, La La de Mochila Azul.
There you gotta see. There you go.
Oh,
Check this out.
¿Qué te pasa, chiquillo? ¿Qué te pasa? Te dicen en la escuela
looking for a high five.
We want to thank the parents, their guardians, and Principal Dr. Rollins and Assistant Principal Carla Guzman for attending and supporting our parents. Let's give him a great big hand again. That's a big song. Excellent. We'll now move into the presentation, a report out of closed session. Dr. Avila?
We have one. The Board of Education accepted the administrative appointment of Roberto Velez as elementary principal, Casey Elementary School. The roll call vote was unanimous.
And we'll move to the adoption of the agenda. Preferential vote, I may have a first to move for the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. And may I have a preferential vote by our student board member?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent. We'll now move to the presentation, The Key to the District from Nancy O'Kelly.
Okay. Well, each year our Board of Education is given the responsibility to honor one person in our district for expertise and dedication to students, staff, parents, and the RUSD education community at large. The board selects and honors, each board member selects and honors one esteemed person each year with the key to the district. Now this year, my key will be awarded to a woman who has made her lifelong commitment to serving those in the Rialto Unified School District, and she also happens to be a proud RUSD product. Brandy Brunson, come on down. Born in the city of San Bernardino to Mr. and Mrs. Jim and Donna Schmidt, Mrs. Brunson and her older brother Jim were raised in Rialto. Both siblings attended Dunn Elementary School, Rialto Junior High School, which is then turned into Rialto Middle School, and then she graduated from Eisenhower High School in 1987.
No favoritism.
Right. Dr. Jim Schmidt, a 1986 graduate of Ike, works as an ER doctor in Missouri. Tonight, I am also pleased to announce that Mr. and Mrs. Schmidt, Brandy's parents, are visiting from Missouri, so they are here tonight. And please come on down. Come on up. Come on down. Come on up. Is that your brother? Oh. Mrs. Brunson was also involved in community volunteering, serving from 1988 to 1990 as an ambassador with the Rialto Chamber of Commerce. She graduated from Cal State University, San Bernardino, earning her BA, and then in 1998 receiving her master's degree in middle school education. She became GATE certified in 2004 and then earned an AVID certificate as well. From an early age, Mrs. Brunson knew that she wanted to make a difference in the lives of children. She began student teaching at Cole Middle School and Eisenhower High School in 1992. And I was working at Cole when Brandy was a student teacher there, and we've worked together for many, many years. I went to school in this great district, and I just knew I would teach in Rialto one day, she smiled. My mom says she knew I was going to be a teacher before I knew myself, because I would come home from kindergarten and set all my stuffed animals up like students in the classroom, and then I would reteach the teacher's lesson to them. And this is so funny, because that's exactly how I knew I was going to be a teacher, only it was dolls, not stuffed animals. Apparently, Mom knew who got in trouble each day, too, as I would include that part as well. That's part of your lesson, okay. In 1992, Brandy accepted the position of classroom teacher at her former alma mater, Cole Middle School. And she has been teaching at Kolb for 26 years. Wow. And she doesn't look a day older than she did when she was student teaching. Mrs. Brunson is a student-centered and active leader on Kolb's campus. Through the years, Mrs. Brunson has been a decade-long advisor for drill team, a drama teacher for 2 years, a newspaper teacher for 4 years, gate coordinator for 22 years, and the Builders Club advisor for 10 years. And she's worked with the East Rialto Kiwanis Club coordinating activities between 2 civic clubs. And I have to say, I'm very proud to say that my children had Mrs. Brunson as their English teacher, and both love her dearly and ask them or many other students, who is your favorite teacher? And it was always Mrs. Brunson. I have to tell a funny story. When I was Dean of Students at Kolb, I had to be circulating around during back to school night, you know, talking to people and things. And my children were there at that time, and so my husband went around to their classrooms with them. And after going into some of the classrooms of the not so positive teachers at that time, he remembers going into Mrs. Brunson's class and came to me and he said, "That is a breath of fresh air. I am so happy our kids are in her class." Mrs. Brunson has also received various awards for her tireless efforts as a lifelong educator. She was the Rialto Education Association's Teacher of the Month in 2000, Community Heroes Awards School District Educator of the Year in 2003. She earned the Dr. Martin Luther King Service Award in 2006. She was REA's Middle School Teacher of the Year in 2007. And she earned the Fred Award for dedication to Kolb in 2008. Kolb PTSA Honorary Service Award in 2009. Kolb Middle School's Excellence Award in 2012. And just last February, DSAC students honored her with the Black History Month Service Award. She is also a member of a teacher sorority in Rialto, ADK, for 17 years, which I was too, but I've been inactive. Married in 1995 to Kevin Brunson. And Kevin, are you here? Would you like to join us up here?
I'm here.
Okay. The couple does not have children, but a very cute dog. Mrs. Brunson said that she was extremely surprised upon receiving an email from the district informing her that she was selected for the highest award in the district from a sitting board member. She said, would you like to read what you said? Okay. "I not only never thought I would receive this award, but I didn't even realize I won the award until a bunch of teachers at Kolb kept saying, 'Hey, congratulations, Brunson.' And I'm saying, like, for what?" And they said, "Maybe you should read your email." I love Rialto. Rialto rocks, and big thanks to Mrs. O'Kelly for nominating me. And I have to say, you know, I have 32 years in the classroom and as an administrator in this district. We have so many outstanding teachers and employees in the district that every year when it comes to this decision I have to make, I have a very hard time because there's so many. But I couldn't let it go by without Mrs. Brunson getting this because she is one of the most deserving teachers I have ever known.
Wow.
After 26 years of excellence in teaching, volunteering, and always watching out for the best interests of our children, you are deserving, Mrs. Brunson, and congratulations. Let me read what it says. This is a 2017 Key to the District presented to Brandy Brunson, Kolb Middle School, for excellence in district leadership and commitment to students and staff from RUSD board member Nancy O'Kelly on Wednesday, October 11th, 2017. There you go. Do you have a few words you would like to say? Okay.
A really cool award to get. Again, I didn't even know that it was given out, and I know that there are many people, hundreds of teachers in our district that are so deserving, so I'm especially honored to receive it. Makes it even more special to do so. I love Rialto. I love teaching where I'm at, my support, my administrators, my students. I couldn't imagine being really anywhere else or doing anything else. Teaching is it for me. I love it, and I feel very fortunate that I get to go every day and do something that makes me happy and hopefully someone else happy too. Just again, thank you. It's such an honor to receive this award.
Ms. Brunson, I'm going to introduce Mrs. O'Kelly real quickly, and then one with the board. Real quick. One more. And I can have just you in the middle with the Board of Education, right? We got the family, so that's good. And then if it's okay, can I have the Colt family come up? More Colt family. You don't want to? Yes. Does you see you in the back? You have to come here.
I'm hiding in the back.
You guys get a little bit closer, and yes, the family too, definitely. I'm sure. Get a little bit closer if you can. I'm gonna take for the. There you go. Thanks, Sue. Okay. Okay, let me see everyone here. 1, 2, 3. One more. Give me 1 second. And I'm doing this, Lauren.
Yes, so Cold Cougars will know.
No problem, no problem. 1, 2, 3, and one more. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. I met you years ago.
Small world.
Yeah, it is.
That's right. That's right.
Oh. We're going to rename you Mrs. Brunson -4. Because you've been there for a while. Not letting her go.
So if we can have just one more hand for our key to the district awardee tonight, Ms. Brunson. Ms. O'Kelly did mention the fact that she had also received an award earlier this year from the students during the Black History Month celebration. So again, your work has not gone unseen or appreciated, not by our students or our staff. Thank you, and not by the board. Thank you again. We're going to move now into the mayoral proclamation for College Application Day. Is that Dr. D'Souza?
Good evening, Board of Education, Superintendent Abela. I am proud to announce that for the first time in Rialto, and it's part of our strategic plan with the city and the district working together, we have a proclamation from our mayor of Rialto, and I'll read it before I do the PowerPoint, so here it is. Whereas the college application process may be a barrier to some high school students pursuing post-secondary education due to an absence of information or support, and whereas obtaining a post-secondary degree has been linked to higher income, better health, and increased community involvement, and whereas only 7.96% of California's working population aged 25 to 64 has an associate's degree, and whereas Carter, Eisenhower, Rialto, Myler, and Supanic high schools are working to prepare students for the opportunities and challenges of the 21st century, and whereas Carter, Eisenhower, Rialto, Myler, and Supanic high schools are part of a statewide initiative, California College Application Week, destined to increase the number of students who apply and enroll in college with a particular focus on first-generation and low-income students. Now, therefore, I, Deborah Robertson, Mayor of the City of Rialto, along with the City Council, do hereby declare Wednesday, October 11, 2017 as College Application Day in the City of Rialto, and encourage all eligible seniors to take advantage of the assistance provided through this initiative. And this was presented last night at the City Council by our Mayor. So I'm proud to report that. I know all of you know that the state superintendent put out an initiative for Race to Submit and for college applications, so this was our kickoff today. And I have not seen so much enthusiasm in our high schools, and thanks to the superintendent and Bruce Kelly, there's a lot of enthusiasm. So I have a few slides to share with you today of the presentations, the different things that happened. Besides being an application day for the 12th graders to apply for FAFSA, basically they decided to make it a college and career day at all the schools. So Carter High School, basically they put their, what years they graduated, the administrative staff in the office, all of them wore college shirts. And then we had the PSAT throughout the district, so all 10th graders were tested in the PSAT, and some schools also chose to make the 11th graders tested in the PSAT this year, so it was 2 grade levels. And then you see the kids the seniors filling out their college applications, and then one student got accepted on the spot to Chaffey College, so she's showing that on her computer screen there at Carter High School. Then we go to Eisenhower Eagles. Eisenhower brought in different speakers, and so my pictures were not working tonight, but I managed to put this together. But they had different speakers from different careers come to present to their 9th graders. They also had an assembly on social media. It was just wonderful to see all their 9th graders just listening so attentively and knowing about what repercussions they get when they go and deal with social media, which was really interesting. And then again, the kids taking the PSAT, the kids at the Career Center filling out college applications. We had talent search from Cal State, San Bernardino helping, the counselors, etc. at the Career Center at Eisenhower. And then a little fun, the kids took pictures of their college class of 2018. And then we have Rialto High School. Again, the college applications. You have the counselor, Miss Connor there, kids in the labs doing their applications online. And then again, a little fun where they are talking about them being college bound. So this is just a little snippet of today. And again, it's kind of brought a lot of enthusiasm and made college and career something central on our campus. So thank you for allowing me to present this today.
Next, we'll have comments from the public, comments from the floor for the public. At this time, any person wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes. Do we have any?
We do. We have Desiree Alvarez.
When does my time start?
It's already started.
Oh. It is so wrong that I am forced to buy nutrition services cupcakes in order to celebrate my son's birthday. You can hide behind your wellness policy, but if you really believed in wellness, why do you have our kids selling junk food? If you really believed in wellness, why do you have them starting in August when it's way too hot and they're stuck indoors all day long? If you really believed in wellness, why don't you make the lunches better? Where are our organic, non-GMO, stevia-sweetened, gluten-free, preservative-free foods? If you really believed in wellness, why did you spend $525 on pizza, $2,036 at Dickey's Barbecue, and $300 at Coffee Nuts between September 11th and September 25th? How can you spend money like that and deny our kids field trips? Do you really believe this policy is universally being enforced? I promise you it's not. How can you focus on this when there are more important issues? Why is the turnover rate for your special ed director so high? Why does it seem like your special ed department is understaffed? Why did it take almost a year for my son to get speech services? I have talked to several people in the district, and you did not consult with them before you made this policy. I have spoken to the Department of Education, and it is not their policy. I'm asking you once again to please amend the wellness policy so that we can bring in food. I want you to provide us with more transparency. We should be notified about what's on the agenda. It's a good thing. You should want us to be involved. Why don't we have community forums? Other districts do. Don't you believe in your integrity and community core values? You need to start a task force. It should include parents and teachers and PTA members and special ed educators and substitute teachers even. Everyone that has anything to do with our children's education should be on this task force. It would only make us stronger. You should want to know the needs and families of our communities. And if you truly don't know, or if you really don't care, then why why do you have this position? And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next.
Mirna Ruiz.
Good evening, board members, audience. My name is Myrna Reese, and I'm sorry I was late. Congratulations. Love you. You deserve it. Sorry. I'm here actually because I wanted to say thank you to Bridget Illy, who is our Director of Special Ed. She had a meeting on Friday, and it was for parents, you know, that have kids with special needs. I personally believe that it was a great meeting. She had all the parents involved. She took our advice and suggestions on how to make the department better and work better, and actually including parents, you know, when it comes to suggestions and things like that. But I do ask the board to please support her, because she's only one person and she can only do so much, you know, and if she gets resistance from administrators and other staff, it's not going to work. So no matter how much she wants to do, you know, to make the department better for our children, and if she doesn't get that support, it's not going to work. So I'm asking you to please help her and support her in everything that she needs, because she's doing a wonderful job. And we do, like I said, we do have those people that, for whatever reason, don't want to help, don't want to be part of the team. So if you don't want to be a team player, like you guys said at the last meeting, you know, get your bags packing, because we need to move on. We need to make this district better. So, with that being said, I do want to invite you to our parent. We're going to be having our PTA meeting on the 18th, and we're going to have a couple of guests from the city. And I would love for you guys to attend. It's going to be next Wednesday, the 18th, and it's going to be at the Parent Center. So if you're able to attend, please, I'm inviting you to go. Like I said, it's next Wednesday, the 18th at 6 p.m. That's it.
Thank you. Any more?
No more not on the agenda.
Not on the agenda, okay. Next, we'll move to the public comments on agenda items. Any person wishing to speak on any item on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes. And do we have any?
We do. Okay. Russell Silva.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Viewing audience. My name is Russell Silva. I'm here to speak on reference H10 for one, recognizing the National School Bus Safety Week. And I really love the fact that we're doing something like this, because we're not just representing the fact that we're being safe with our system, but we're also recognizing the people that make it safe. The school bus drivers, the transportation staff, the managers, mentors, trainers, mechanics, and dispatchers. I love the fact that we're including them in there. And I really appreciate the fact that this is happening. On reference H11 though, we're talking about the National School Lunch Week. And in there, it's great that we're representing and we're saying that we really want to make reference to the fact that we are providing nutritious education and food to our children. But what about the people that deliver that deliver the food? The nutrition service workers at each of the school sites, the central kitchen workers, the drivers and deliverers of the foods. They are the ones that are just as are the bus drivers and the transportation staff. They are just as valuable to the nutrition services group as this program for Nutrition Services Week. And I think that this resolution should include their names on there because it is important to know that they're recognized as well. Both of these, school bus drivers and nutrition service people, are part of the lowest paid staff members in the school district, and they deserve, all of them deserve a right to be noticed for what they're doing. They're all doing a great job, and I think that the nutrition services workers and staff members should be included in this resolution. Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
is all.
That is all.
Next, we'll move to comments from Association Executive Board members, Rialto Education Association, REA. Anybody hear any footsteps? No? Okay. California School Employees Association, CSEA. Communication Workers of America, CWA. Right.
Good evening, Board.
Good
Ron
evening.
Fletcher, Area Vice President right now for substitute teachers. I'm happy and sad to report that come December 1st, I will no longer be the Area Vice President, so I won't be qualified to come up here unless I do it under public. I will still come to some of your meetings, but not all of them. But I did want to say one thing today. You have K1 on your agenda, and that is not the substitute teachers. We are certificated, not classified. But the 2% raise, it's too bad it can't be 4%, so that all those people could earn a little bit more. But I enjoy coming to the meetings. It's great to see how well you work together and everything. And I understand we only have one more meeting in October than one in November. So I shall hope to make it both of them. And I'd like to say hello to Mr. Collins. I haven't had a chance to meet you, but from what I understand back there, you're an outstanding young man. So we hope to see you more in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rialto School Managers Association, RSMA. Okay, excellent. Then now we'll move to the comments from the superintendent.
And today's meeting is very special meeting for me. I have planned comments a little bit longer than I normally do. And while I am often, admired for my composure, I'm not sure that I'll be able to keep it, so no promises, because it's dealing with a subject that's very personal to me, the theme anyway. So good evening and welcome to the month of October, which is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, International Strategic Planning Month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, along with a multitude of important awareness subjects in weeks like Red Ribbon Week, Lunch Week, and things of that nature. And so the theme for the month seems to be wellness. Today, I want to share a couple of highlights. The Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Commission of the San Bernardino County honored our very own Chief Gordon Leary, Rialto High School teacher Laura McMullen, and probation officer Tasha Bruce, who is also assigned to the Rialto Unified School District with the Service to Youth Awards for their tremendous work in making a positive difference in the lives of students. And I want to thank the three for making us very proud and doing so without seeking the recognition, the attention, but you can tell that it simply comes from their heart to make a difference in the lives of others. Today I also met with the District Advisory Council, DSAC students, all 26 of them. And thank you, Vice President Mr. Martinez, for joining us today, as well as San Bernardino Community College President Mr. Joseph Williams was also in attendance and participated in the activities that we had for them today. We have a cheerful, excited group of students led by our very own student board member, Keon Collins. A group who is ready to rock and roll and do some amazing things this school year. And speaking of doing in the spirit of making a difference towards the wellness of others, I want to present a few images of some of the things that are taking place in the district. Ideas are conceived sometimes as reactions, others as actions to prevent reactions, but they start as ideas nonetheless. These are seeds that are planted and nurtured into maturity. And sometimes there's a little pain in the process. Other times there's a lot of pain. But if we truly are to dignify our core values as a district, then the major decisions that are being made should start and end with the interests of students in mind. And so I will start by simply sharing that while there are many things that we continue to improve on to make our district a more holistic, unified district that has a tremendous impact on the lives of kids, I do want to, at the very least, acknowledge some of the areas where we are making a difference that started with a simple idea, started with a concept, started with a need. Some of them may have been reactionary, others were at the forefront. And again, while there was a little pain in some, there were questions that were being raised, and rightfully so. There's the community, staff, the board has a right to ask questions, has a right to question certain things, but it's only through that process that we can certainly make a difference. So I start with the Family Leadership Institute. If you recall, approximately 2 years ago, we sent a team of parents and a few district office staff members to training in Las Vegas, where the headquarters for the FLI is. And there were some questions as to why we were sending staff, parents out of state, and the amounts that were being paid, and whether or not this would really provide us the return on investment that we were seeking. And while 10 to 12 schools have implemented the FLI model, which is intended to empower parents to understand that leadership starts at home. It empowers parents to understand that education starts at home, and to really do that they have a role in what it is that they can do to assist their children by first starting with the healing process of the adult, of the parent, of the staff members here on campus. And so these are 4 principals, 1 assistant principal from Rialto High School, Garcia Elementary School, Boyd Elementary, and previously Casey Elementary, that decided to do the FLI as a team. The program is intended to be done individually at schools, where parents receive 10 modules on 10 different topics that at the end they graduate with a certificate, having gone through this extensive training. Again, that will help them become more involved and more effective in the lives of their kids. And this is what it looks like. So they have approximately a group of 50 parents from the 4 different schools that have participated in these sessions starting last year. They resumed this year. I've been invited to the first 3 this year, and I can tell you that I may not attend anymore, because the stories that come from these sessions are tear-jerking, and I don't know that I can continue to be a part of that, because it's very opening, and it's intended to, again, to heal, but it starts with sharing what that pain, what that trauma, what those experiences they had as kids, the challenges they have at home, sometimes with the family, sometimes with the kids. And it's part of the process, and just hearing the stories and the transformation that some of these individuals have gone through since last year is just powerful and amazing. There are rituals that are a part of each of the sessions where they come together and bond, and the different friendships that have formed from these sessions, again, is just so empowering. And it tells me that, again, even with some of the questions that were raised a couple of years ago, and we pushed forward nonetheless, it has certainly paid off, at least for the 4 schools that so far have come together to make sure that they deliver this program to their families. And this is a group picture of a recent, I'm not sure if this was at the end of last year, celebrating the end of the year, at the beginning of this year, but there are approximately 50 strong. And again, the fact that the principals, it started with the idea, but ideas, as great as they might be, are meaningless if there's no action behind it. And they decided to do something with those ideas, something with that training, and they have continued to march along until they go through the entire module with those families. So it's starting with the wellness of the adult. There are adults, staff members involved, and obviously there are parents that are involved. And I believe that the investment that we have made in human beings, in the wellness, in their wellness, is going to have a positive impact on the success of our students here in our district. We also had, again, an idea of having a wellness center. Rialto High School ironically took, again, the initiative to move forward with the idea. And so we had a ribbon cutting ceremony. And again, the ideas, to me, while I want to give credit as much as possible, to me, in the end, doesn't matter who they come from. Some have come from board members, some from staff, some from parents, some from other community members, and others that we have picked up at conferences that we go to. But in the end, the ideas, again, are not meaningful if we don't put action behind them. And so this idea came along and ran with it, and here we are last year at our Wellness Center, Rialto High School grand opening. And here's what the Wellness Center looks like. It transformed a classroom into a therapeutic environment where kids and adults can go and have one-on-one sessions, have group sessions on different topics that will help them get through, in the case of kids, whether it's the loss of a family member, whether it's a breakup, boyfriend-girlfriend situations, and we've had a number of those, or any other thing that may be inhibiting their success at the school. And to hear the testimonials from kids, it's really the the icing on the cake for us, because we can, again, transform a classroom and put all this beautiful furniture in there, but if we don't do anything with it and don't have the impact that's intended, then again, it becomes meaningless. But hearing their testimonials and the way that they have transformed themselves is just amazing. This is what the classroom looks like. That's what different setups that they can do for small group, large group, or again, individual counseling and supports, and a lot of wraparound supports for our kids. This is the grand opening Wellness Center at Carter High School recently. Don't have any other inside pictures, but they started about a month or so ago. So they're, I'm sure a lot of their data will be coming along to show the successes that they'll be having. Eisenhower High School, theirs is in operation. The room itself, we haven't had the grand opening, but I look forward to attending and helping celebrate their success with their wellness center. And the idea is to go down to the middle school so that we can catch the kiddos early and not wait until they're juniors and seniors before we're able to provide some of those interventions. And then we have, from the idea of the wellness center, came the meditation garden. What is a meditation garden? Well, let me show you. So it started, so that right there is the wellness center that we had the grand opening for a year ago. This is the space between that building and another building here. So this is an open area. So the idea as we did the grand opening here was, what about if we extended the wellness center beyond the physical room to provide additional space for kids to heal? And so the idea of a garden grew from that conversation. And the questions were, well, where's the money going to come from? Who's going to pay for it? And who's going to do it? But again, if our decisions start and end with the kids in mind, who cares? We'll find it. We'll get it done. If we really value our kids, we'll figure out a way to do it. I don't want the excuses to prohibit us from providing the services that we should be providing for our kids. And so here's the staff from M&O, and an outside company that's beginning to do the groundwork here at the school. And it's moving along. And so here is a dry riverbed that's a natural flow for the water here on campus to go out into the drainage systems outside on Pepper Avenue Boulevard. And so we wanted to preserve that. Then we have, again, staff moving right along, putting the boulders and the plants. We have 3 or 4 big trees that once their canopies grow, you'll see they're going to cover the majority of the garden to provide that serenity. This is the team
Nice trees.
from M&O moving along.
Nice trees.
And almost there with the irrigation system. Again, irrigation system that will allow us to qualify for rebates from the water department because we're installing drip systems there to not lose or waste any water. And then here is the grand opening of the meditation garden. This is just, when was this, yesterday?
Yes.
So this is just as recent as yesterday. And here's the garden that has yoga stations, that has the bridges, it has the water flow there, the big trees that will grow into big canopies. And here's the attendees from the district, from other neighboring districts who wanted to know what Rialto High School is all about in terms of wellness centers. That's a
water fountain back there, that big rock.
So this rock is a water fountain. There's another one here somewhere, and this is Brian Montes, the architect behind the garden itself, along with his crew. His entire crew was there. But when I did a visit last week to check the progress, Brian was there, sleeves rolled up, work boots, and he was in there digging and moving things along with the co-workers. So I expect for supervisors to get their hands dirty like everybody else. I want to live the apple is part of one of their rules that they came up with 20 years or so ago, where it says everybody sweeps the floor, meaning we're not, our titles and our positions should not keep us from getting involved and making a difference at the ground level. And so that's the water fountain, natural water fountain there. That's the staff. That's Laura, who was honored today for what she has done there at the school. And so that's the wellness at that level. Then we have the wellness related to literacy, because if our kids are able to read at or above grade level by 3rd grade, then it is more likely that they will be well in school because of their abilities to keep up and to do their work and to not be behind and struggle and experience the stress that comes with struggling in the classroom. So this year, we have proposed a goal of having 100% of our 3rd graders read at or above grade level, which is a lofty goal, but why would we not expect that from each of our kids?
That's great.
I don't want to say it that what if we don't reach that goal? Well, we just keep working harder and eventually we'll get to that goal. I don't want kids, again, to move beyond 3rd grade, not at grade level, and not having those opportunities that they deserve in order to be successful and explore the different careers that they want to venture into. So here's the kickoff. Read, explore, achieve, and dream. And this is our very own Dr. Vince Rollins from Curtis Elementary School, and teacher, 3rd grade teacher, Alexandra Madrid, and student Haley Contreras, 3rd grade student who right now is reading at the 5th grade level. She's in 3rd. But why shouldn't every kid excel at that level and to be able to have those opportunities down the road? So this is a kickoff that we've had. We branded this program, this initiative. It is a part, so this is our brand that we have adopted. So whenever you hear about the 3rd grade reading goal, it's the reading initiative. This is the reading program that, it's not a program, but it's a challenge, it's a charge, it's an initiative that we're going to not challenge 3rd grade teachers, but let them know that we are behind them. What can we do to support them in those classrooms? What can we do different in the class, outside the class? And so part of the goal is for us to meet with every parent of every kid who is below grade level right now to communicate with them the sense of urgency, to share with them the challenges that their kids will or are likely to have if those kids do not read at or above grade level by the end of the school year. But not to shame, not to blame, but to work with them and to let them know that we have things that we can partner with, but we need them to be a part of this process, both the teachers, the parents, and staff at the school. We need everybody on board, everybody to sweep the floor so that these kids, again, can experience that success. And this is our broader literacy initiative as a district. We have modules 10, I believe it's 10 classes that we have for expecting moms, because literacy starts in the belly, in the tummy. When parents read to their kids, that's when the brain is beginning to develop. Between 0 and 3 years old is when the majority of the brain forms. And so literacy, again, we're approaching it from 0. So any family who is moms who are expecting or moms who have kids 0 to 3 are a part of this program. We have 2 different groups going, 2 different cohorts, one in English, one in Spanish. I believe that they are full classes right now. And so we expect to engage the families even before the kids are able to walk. We also have Lefty's Reading Challenge in partnership with the Fontana Speedway. They have a literacy initiative where they challenge schools to read X number of books, and then there are prizes that come with the schools who read the most books. We have Raising a Reader, as you know, it's in partnership with the Masons of California. This is the initiative where they give every kindergarten kid a baggie with books, and as the year progresses, every kid switches bags with another kid. So by the end of the year, that class of kindergarten kids have read all the books in the classroom. So again, it's promoting literacy. As I learned this year at a summit that I was in Dallas, Texas, they argue, one of the presenters argued that the only motivation is access to books. That's all they need is access to books. And kids who are not at grade level, part of the reason is because they have zero to very few books at home. And so we're putting books in the hands of kids. And of course, Footsteps to Brilliance is the application, online application, gamified literacy, where kids are playing, they're reading, they're writing, they're producing, and it puts over 1,000 books in their hands, online, offline, but on an application. So we're putting physical books and we're putting books, electronic books in their hands. So we're overwhelming our kids with books, and that's a good thing. And of course, we have the Community Collaborative, which is a group of 30 or so members of the district, classified, certificated members of the community, local nonprofits, local colleges. Scholastic company is a part of it. They are the ones led by Jasmine Valenzuela that are leading our overall literacy initiative, and they're doing an amazing job. And this is where, so it's not there. This was supposed to come down. Apparently it's not coming down. But that fits in right in here. It's a part of the overall initiative. There it is. Because I want the kids to be like him. So every kid is not driven like him, but it's our responsibility as educators, as parents, as members of the community to change the conditions so that kids who may not be motivated, who are not as driven, that we continue to encourage them, that we continue to build their skill set so that they can feel that confidence and are able to pursue their dreams. So this is a kid who is, I believe, 8 years old at the time, this was 2 years ago, who is one of 3 kids, a single mom. They are homeless. They live in a grocery store where the mom works part-time. The owner allows them to spend the night but does not allow them to keep the lights on. And so the kid who wants to be a doctor is driven to do his work regardless of his conditions. And so he found a local McDonald's where he goes and props up his little table and is determined to do his homework because he wants to fulfill his dream of being a doctor at some point. Why can our kids not be this kid? We can shape their conditions to allow those who are not motivated to become motivated at some point in time. Because the question is always why. So these are 3 actual kids from our district, and they represent 3 of 10 kids, which is the 30% of kids, 33% more or less, of kids who are at or above grade level currently as 3rd graders. Which means that we have silhouettes of kids who are not. And so the question is to parents, the question is to staff, where do we want our kids to be, here or here? These are not percentages. These are human beings. These are lives. These are kids who in 10, 20 years will be out there thriving and doing their thing to contribute to humanity. But if we tolerate this, if we are okay with the status quo, if we choose not to do anything about it, then we may expect more black silhouettes instead of actual human beings. And the other question again is why? Well, because we don't want this for our kids. We want this for our kids. We want that 100% graduation rate. Why not? Of course, you always get laughed at when you mention it because, yeah, right, that's going to happen. Why not strive for it? What's going to keep us from making every effort that we possibly can to make this a reality? These are actual graduates from Myler, Zupanik, Eisenhower, Rialto, and Carter High School just this past year. Why shouldn't parents be there to celebrate their kids? So that's part 1. to is where I might lose it. It's a story that I read when I was at UCLA. And it's a story that really touched me. I had to do an assignment, and it was a short story that our teacher had us do an assignment on. But it really hit my heart because I saw myself being the child in the story. And I hadn't seen the story for 20-something years. And my daughter, who just started college, comes home with the same story. It was also an assignment to her just recently. And she needed help because she too saw herself in the story. There's this myth that if you are of a certain class, you don't have problems. Well, it reminds me of a novel, a novela from 30-something years ago, used to titled Rich People Cry Too. And so my daughter, although she has things that others might not have, she too has her challenges nonetheless. And she too saw herself reaching out for help. And so as I helped her, it really connected with what we're trying to do here in the district. How can we address the needs of kids like the main character here, which I'm going to take a few minutes to read. It's not that long, but I need you to see where I'm coming from. This is not a moment to shame anyone. This is actually an invitation, a calling to the entire staff and the community. This is not focused on teachers. We know that the real magic happens in the classroom when everybody decides to support the teachers in those classrooms so that we can have Ms. Brunson throughout the district. Why should every kid not have access to the quality that she gives her kids? Why only her kids should benefit from her? Why should we not have her in every one of our classrooms in every grade level? And I know we have some amazing teachers. Believe me, I visited every classroom and I see it. But we need to do that all day, every day. And so I'm going to read it to you very briefly. I was 7 years old the first time I snuck out of my house in the dark. It was winter and my parents had been fighting all night. They were short on money and long on relatives who slept temporarily, moving into our house because they had nowhere else to go. My brother and I were used to giving up our bedroom. We slept on the couch, something we actually liked because it put us that much closer to the light of our lives, our television. At night when everyone was asleep, we lay on the pillows watching it with the sound off. We watched Steve Allen's mouth moving, we watched Johnny Carson's mouth moving, we watched movies filled with beautiful women crying at windows. Then the sign-off finally came and we tried to sleep. The morning I snuck out, I woke up filled with a panic about needing to get to school. The sun wasn't quite up yet, but my anxiety was so fierce that I just got dressed, walked quietly across the kitchen, and let myself out the back door. It was quiet outside. Stars were still out. Nothing moved and no one was in the street. It was as if someone had turned off the sound on the world. I walked the alley, breaking thin ice over the puddles with my shoes. I didn't know why I was walking to school in the dark. I didn't think about it. All I knew I was feeling was a feeling of panic, like the panic that strikes kids when they realize they are lost. That feeling eased the moment I turned the corner and saw the dark outline of my school at the top of the hill. My school was made up of about 15 nondescript portable classrooms set down on a fenced concrete lot in a rundown Seattle neighborhood. But it had the most beautiful view of the Cascade Mountains. You could see them from anywhere on the playfield, and you could see them from the windows of my classroom, room 2. I walked over to the monkey bars and hooked my arm around the cold metal. I stood for a long time just looking across Rainier Valley. The sky was beginning to widen and I could hear a few birds. In a perfect world, my absence at home would not have gone unnoticed. I would have had 2 parents in a panic to locate me, instead of 2 parents in a panic to locate an answer to the hard question of survival during a deep financial and emotional crisis. But in an overcrowded and unhappy home, it's incredibly easy for any child to slip away. The high levels of frustration, depression, anger in my house made my brother and me invisible. We were children with the sound turned off. And for us, as for the steadily increasing number of neglected children in this country, the only place where we could count on being noticed was at school. Hey there, young lady. Did you forget to go home last night? It was Mr. Gunderson, our janitor, whom we all loved. He was nice and he was funny and he was old with white hair, thick glasses, and an unbelievable number of keys. I could hear them jingling as he walked across the playfield. I felt incredibly happy to see him. He let me push his wheeled garbage can between the different portables as he unlocked each room. He let me turn on the lights and raise the window shades, and I saw my school slowly come to life. I saw Mrs. Holman, our school secretary, walk into the office without her orange lipstick on yet. She waved. I saw the 5th grade teacher, Mr. Cunningham, walking under the breezeway eating a hard roll. He waved. And I saw my teacher, Mrs. Claire Lassane, walking towards us in a red coat and calling my name in a very happy and surprised way. And suddenly my throat got tight and my eyes stung and I ran towards her crying. It was something that surprised us both. It's only thinking about it now, 28 years later, that I realized I was crying from relief. I was with my teacher, and in a while I was going to sit at my desk with my crayons and pencils and books and classmates all around me, and for the next 6 hours I was going to enjoy a thoroughly secure, warm, and stable world. It was a world I absolutely relied on. Without it, I don't know where I would have gone that morning. Miss Lassane asked me what was wrong, and when I said nothing, she seemed to leave it at that. But she asked me if I would carry her purse, an honor above all honors, and she asked if I wanted to come into room 2 early and paint. She believed in the natural healing power of painting and drawing for troubled children. In the back of her room there was always a drawing table and an easel with plenty of supplies, and sometimes during the day she would come up to you for what seemed like no good reason and quietly ask if you wanted to go to the back table and make some pictures for Mrs. Lassane. We all had a chance at it, to sit apart from the class for a while to paint, draw, and silently work our impossible problems on 8x17 sheets of newsprint. Drawing came to mean everything to me. At the back of the table in room 2, I learned to build myself a life preserver that I could carry into my home. We all know that a good education system saves lives, but the people of this country are still told that cutting the budget for public schools is necessary, that poor salaries for teachers are all we can manage, and that art, music, and all creative activities must be the first to go when times are lean. Before and after school programs are cut, and we are told that public schools are not made for babysitting children. If parents are neglectful temporarily or permanently, for whatever reason, it's certainly sad, but their unlucky children must fend for themselves, or slip through the cracks, or wander into a dark night alone. We are told in 1,000 ways that not only a public school is not important, but that the children who attend them, the children who need them most, are not important. We leave them to learn from the blind eye of a television, or to the mercy of 1,000 points of light that can be as far away as stars. I was lucky. I had Mrs. Lassane, I had Mr. Gunderson, I had an abundance of art supplies. I had a particular brand of neglect in my home that allowed me to slip away and get to them. But what about the rest of the kids who weren't as lucky? What happened to them? By the time the bell rang that morning, I had finished my drawing, and Mrs. Lassane pinned it up on the special bulletin board she reserved for drawings from the back table. It was the same picture I always drew, a sun in the corner of a blue sky over a nice house with flowers all around it. Mrs. Lassane asked us to please stand, face the flag, place our right hand over our hearts, and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Children across the country do it faithfully. I wonder now when the country will face the children and say a pledge right back. So again, that's my message to the staff, to the community. Do what we have to do to make a difference for these kids, because each of you matters.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm all choked up. Yeah, I'm like, where do I go from here? We'll have comments from the board, and we'll begin with our student board member.
Madam President.
Oh.
Please forgive me, I didn't do my alumni corner.
Oh.
I was caught up in the
He was
moment.
got right.
I told you. Fair warning. So my alumni highlight corner comes from Eisenhower High School. You just heard about Brandy Brunson. Well, her brother, Jim Smith, was also a standout student at Eisenhower High School, graduating from Ike in 1986. He went on to graduate from George Washington School of Medicine, top of his class. Dr. Smith is an ER doctor in, so is it Missouri or Missouri? Missouri. And while I send a warm congratulations to Dr. Smith and his sister, Mrs. Brunson, I must also congratulate their parents. When mom and dad and others support from home, it's much easier for students to stay on a successful path. So thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, for raising two conscientious and solid citizens who provide such great service to others. Thank you.
Now we'll have comments from our board, starting off with our student board member, Mr. Collins.
Good evening, board, Dr. Avila, and public viewing audience. Today I would like to say that I was happy to meet with Mr. Martinez, Dr. Avila, Ms. Joffrey, Mr. Ricardo Carlos, and Mr. Joseph Williams today, with 25 other students that I met for DSAC this year. The students, myself and the other students had a great lunch and had a great talk with Mr. Martinez and Dr. Avila. I thank Dr. Avila for the story that he gave to us that he recently just read to you guys. It touched my heart because I see a lot of my friends and I've been through a lot of it myself. And I can really relate to this story. So I thank him for giving us the opportunity to listen to him on that. Also, November 15th is the first high school DSAC meeting for the board. So I'll be happy to see the high school students come and have their presentations prepared for me. Also, I would like to invite all the parents and staff to the Parent Summit at Rialto High School on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, I get to introduce Mr. Cuauhtemoc Avila. It's going to be awesome. Lastly, I would like to say that I am infatuated with the cover of the agenda this week. And thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Next, we'll have comments from board member Ayala.
Thank you, President Walker. First of all, I'd like to say, Dr. Avila, that was right from the heart, and those are the messages that, when we hear them, are long-lasting and much appreciated. Thank you for sharing. It's good to see an old friend, Dr. Jim Schmidt, all the way from Missouri to support his family. That's very honorable. That's right on task. We had some experiences earlier trying to save our community in El Rancho Verde, many nights, just giving it our best. We didn't always agree, but we shook hands, and that's a good way to be. But never any problems. Last few times I've talked about our kids. One was the successful attributes that our kids need. Last week I think I talked about goals and giving our kids directions. This week I was thinking, how can I add to that? Because these are really good times and great opportunities for our kids to learn and thrive. And the best way I can explain that is start with an example. So we're going to go back to where I was 7 years old, but I'm not going to go through all the experiences. But I can remember wanting to get from point A to point B, and that was on a bicycle. And sometimes the chains were a little bit loose. They get stuck on your pants, or they just come off. And mine came off. And I'm looking around like, okay, now what do? I didn't know what to do. But I wanted to get from point A to point B, so I sat there and I studied it. Fortunate enough, the good Lord gave me some skills that I was able to make it work. Our kids today don't always have the skills to make it work. So assuming that we can change that chain and make it work doesn't work for all the kids. And I know that. Although we have high expectations, as we should, because we want the best for our children. Because when our children fall, it is painful. When they don't make the grade, it hurts. It hurts. And it doesn't matter if it's your child or your neighbor's child, or it hurts. We want to see our youth succeed. So, yes, we want our kids to achieve at third grade level and learn to read. That is very, very important. That's huge. That's huge. So we're definitely moving in the right direction. Our kids, as time progresses, though, they may not be successful in the A through G. And if you're a parent and you have one of these children, then it's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. But, you know, the world's not going to come to an end. We're going to keep moving. We're going to find ways to be positive and make things work. There's a lot of kids out there who are grown-ups now taking care of their parents who never graduated from high school and are doing a great job pushing those wheelchairs around. And I admire them. You know, everybody finds their own path. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is this great times to learn and thrive. What helps our kids is having a comprehensive education. Meaning that they learn a multitude of things. They not only learn to use their minds, but they also know how to connect their minds with their hands. However, if we're a formal institute and we're trying to move our kids forward and our goal is to get them to college, there's going to be a few that fall in those cracks. So I guess I'm addressing those parents who have those kids who are moving in that direction, falling through the cracks. So you can't just depend on the institution to solve all those problems and make progress. I know we'd like for the institution to do it, but it just doesn't always work that way. Don't take the chance because we know our kids better than anybody else. Don't take the chance with a particular institution. Use all the resources available. Get our kids comprehensive education, however you can. It's a world out there outside of education. Get those kids, teach them how to help them put that bicycle chain on that bicycle. And when they're done with that, show them how to wash the dishes. Show them how to make some pancakes. Show them how to change a tire on a car. Show them how to paint a fence. Show them how to put up a fence. Now, these are areas that, you know, are not A through G. But I guarantee you, when they learn and build their confidence to do things, and they connect to the internet, and when the internet tells them and shows them, some will learn it by reading, some will learn auditory. We all have different modalities to learn. Those kids will thrive because they're going to have confidence. So in summary, our children deserve the best. They deserve us. Don't just give them candy. Don't throw money at them. You know what the answer is. Give them your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Board Member O'Kelly?
Yes. First of all, I wanted to thank Dr. D'Souza for that excellent presentation on College Application Day, and I want to thank the City of Rialto for making it a resolution to do this, well, at least this year. I guess we'll do it every year. And hopefully it's going to really get a lot more of our kids. I think one of the biggest problems with kids not going to college is they don't know how to do the paperwork. So if we take the time and help them through that, I think a lot more of them will be able to get to college. And congratulations again to Brandy Brunson. who received the key to the district tonight. That is the highest honor that we can bestow in this district on a person, and you are very deserving and one of my favorite people. And Ron Fletcher, we are going to miss you. I'm sorry that we're only going to see you a couple more times, but you can still come and visit us. Okay. I had a lot of fun last week. I attended Myers Elementary Family STEAM Night, and it was a really incredible event. They had a packed house. You couldn't even move. They had it in the cafeteria and in the library and in the computer lab with different activities that integrated math, science, and art with language arts. All the different stations that they had set up in the cafeteria had different activities, and that they based or related to a fairy tale. So the kids got that well-rounded look at things. The activities included Jack's parachute design, bear boat creation with Gummy Bear Boy, dancing dragons, robotics. That was from Cusera Middle School. Some of their students came down and were demonstrating their robotics at Myers. Origami, a king and queen marble run, tower creation, plus many more. And the kids and their parents were all excited and having so much fun doing these activities. It was really great to see. In the computer lab, I learned something. They had coding activities. Well, I've never taken any courses in coding. These were very simplified coding activities, but they had Moana, they had Minecraft, they had Frozen, so stories the kids could relate to, and then the directions would tell you to help Moana get to the fish so she can catch them. And there'd be like 3 moves. So you go, oh, move forward, turn left. Wrong. Move forward, move forward, move forward, turn left, move forward, move forward. So that was a lot of fun, and it got progressively more difficult, and the kids were having a lot of fun with that. So the whole event was very well planned and executed, and I wanted to give a big shout out to Principal Alberto Camarena, Assistant Principal Bernice Gutierrez, and teacher Michelle Stoker, who invited us to the event, for organizing such a great event. It was really a lot of fun. And that's all I have for tonight, so thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have comments from Board Clerk Montez.
Thank you very much, Board President Ms. Dina Walker. Well, first of all, I'd like to just welcome everybody here tonight. Thank you for continuing to support us here at our board meetings and here in our district. I first want to congratulate Mrs. Brunson and family. What an honor to receive such distinguished recognition. So thank you for everything that you do, Ms. Brunson, for our children here and for this community and the school district. And it's my understanding, could have fooled me. I didn't think you've been teaching that long. But thank you so much for your many years of service, and we look forward to many more. I want to also thank Mr. Ron Fletcher, longtime president of the Communication Workers of America, for all of your service to our district and to your organization. And we know you represent many people, and you always you've always had the best interests at heart for the people you represent and for our school district and this community. I especially want to thank you for, after advocating for some time, being successful in convincing San Bernardino City Unified in getting their own student school board members, which is something that we've had here for a very long time, starting with Miss board member Mrs. Wilhelmina Carter, who was the who planted the seed for that here in this district. So thank you for finally getting them to listen over there, and I understand now they're following our lead with that. So thank you. I also just want to congratulate Rialto High School on yesterday's grand opening of their wellness center, meditation garden. I didn't know that I was invited, so I went down and I didn't know that the ceremony was being held in the library, and then kind of like a press conference style. Then from there, they went over to the garden. I was at the garden waiting for everyone, and everybody was inside. But anyway, I got over there, and we heard from various people, and we heard from two of the students that are in the Wellness Center program, and I can't stop thinking about the words of one of the students there. Darius was his name, because at such a young age, for him to be so aware and have such a profound understanding of how his peers act, and what he said was that when he first got to high school, he wanted to be a loner. He didn't want to interact too much with other students. He thought that other students acted dumb or were maybe not that smart. So he wanted to be on his own. And when he seen his schedule for his classes, and he saw the peer group class, he went straight to this counselor and said, "Hey, there must be some kind of misunderstanding. I don't want this class. Can you change my schedule?" And the counselor told him, "Well, why don't you give it a shot first? Give it a shot and then come back and let me know." So after trying it out, he says he realized that he was able to relate to a lot of the students. And one of the things that he realized was that sometimes students act or behave the way they do because of what they've been through or what they're going through in their lives. So for a student, it's hard, it's difficult enough for adults to understand that. And for a student to know that or realize that was very mind-boggling to me, particularly because, like Dr. Avila said, or like the story he read, some of the students go through really tough times, and it's hard. It's easy to judge them based on how they're behaving or how they're performing, but there's other things sometimes going on at home or in their community or in their neighborhood that really has more to the story. So I wanted to thank him for sharing that, and then and also just wanted to thank all of the staff over at Rialto High School, because that garden, Mr. Brian Montez, and no, he's not related to me. It's Montez with the Z, not with an S. But kudos to Brian Montez and everybody at M&O for really taking the lead. And I didn't know. I thought to myself, who's the architect? Who designed this garden? And Mr. Brian Montez looks at me and says, "I did." And I said, "Really?" I said, "We didn't pay, some fancy architectural company to come down here and design this garden?" He said, "No." And you looked around, we saw pictures. You looked around, you had rock art and, water fountains and meditation,
Chimes.
Wind chimes. And it was really, really nice to see a little piece of nature where students and even adults can go and just kind of, relax. The walls are high, so you can't see inside from the outside, and then when you're inside, that's all you see is just the garden and the sky. So it was really beautiful, and kudos to the principal there, Mr. Ayala, and all the people that took part in that, and all the district staff that made it possible. So I also wanted to just speak a little bit about the FLI, the Family Leadership Institute. I think at first we were a little criticized because of the cost of sending parents down to Las Vegas, Nevada, by the way, for a conference on the importance of leadership in the home. But once we got smart and decided to bring the training to the district and start offering the training here at the district, we really started to see the ripple effect, the positive ripple effects of the program. I've had many parents come up to me and tell me, oh, wow, this Mr. Montes, this FLI, this Colonel Kickbush and this program, it's awesome. It's really changed my life. And we've heard testimonials from parents come up and speak about it. And we even seen pictures of classes full of parents really benefiting from this program, from this training. Even administrators, just realizing that leadership begins in their home too. It's awesome. So I just wanted to say kudos to the board for investing in such a good program like FLI, and I hope that we continue to, as well as being smart with our resources, but continue to invest in programs and services that actually do produce or have positive effects on our school district. And then the last thing I just want to say, regarding the cupcakes, I've heard people make different arguments regarding cupcakes and parents or anyone bringing food to school. I don't know about you guys, but I've got a paranoid mother who to this day not only heckled me and my brothers and sister about trick-or-treating and Halloween candy and checking your candy really good to make sure there's nothing in it. Now she heckles me about taking my kids out to go trick-or-treating and making sure put nothing in the candy and check the candy real good. There's people that are the same way about people that bring food into the classroom when they don't know who brought it. They don't know the person. They don't know the parents or the aunt or or whoever of their students' classmates. So when they bring food from the outside, whether it's innocent cupcakes or candy or whatever, not everyone's going to be so thrilled about letting their child eat stuff that's being brought from the outside, that's not checked by the school or it's not made at the school. It brings in a whole issue of liability and insurance and all these other topics that we don't want to get into tonight. But I just want to say that there's two sides to every story, and at the end of the day, this board wants what's best for everyone. I think in most cases, most people really don't mind. I really don't mind cupcakes being brought into the classroom, but it's a bigger picture than just someone bringing in food from the outside with good intentions or not. There's a whole lot. It's a big conversation that really needs to be looked at.
Allergies.
Exactly. Some people are allergic and whatnot, and at least, well, I'll just leave it at that. But I just want to say, let's please be understanding, and I have no trouble engaging and dialoguing with anyone in the community in regards to this issue or any similar issue in regards to food being brought in from the outside. We could always take a look at it. We could ask for a workshop or whatnot and take a look at some options and some further discussion. But I just at least wanted to say that. And I apologize if it causes any inconvenience for anyone, but we have to look at the big picture here. And last but not least, I apologize during the very long presentation. If I nodded my head a little bit, I've been getting up very early every day, so I was not bored. I'm just really tired. My doctor said to lose some weight, so I'm going to the gym early in the morning, and I'm just not as energized as I usually am. So, but thank you, Dr. Avila, for your presentation and sharing that story with us, because for me it also hit home. And I agree. We all need to pledge to the kids to do the best that we can for them. So with that, thank you, Board President.
Thank you. Next, we'll have comments from Vice President Martinez.
Thank you, President Walker. I may lose it yet tonight. Started the day early. I normally have trouble falling asleep and tried to fall asleep by 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. This morning I was here for the kids. You guys mean everything to me. Excuse me. Only a squeak wants to come out. On Monday, I noticed that Twitter had a feed saying it was Nutrition Service Month, so to speak. So I responded, speaking to the kids, I know they follow my feed, say thanks to the lunch lady. That they work hard. This morning, I shared with the kids that there are several ways to learn. You can learn from the mistakes of others, and that's a least painful way. Or you can go ahead and find your own calling and went through the model of preparing their own goals, see what their skill sets were. So that was the gist of my talk to the kids this morning. So I'd like to tie it all together just by saying thank you to those who care for my 25,000 kids. Thank you to those who provide a safe place for my kids. For those who feed and transport my kids. For those who show them the love they may not have at home. Thank you to community and staff and students who watch out for each other. And thank you to the adults for any positive role models they are able to give.
So I just want to say thank you again for reading that story. I think it kind of hit home for a lot of us. And I wasn't thinking about so much of myself about not being a safe place, because I've always had a safe place with my mom. That's been a blessing. But school was a safe and place for me to grow. And so I was glad that school was always there. So much so that I stayed an extra year. So it's great. But even to say that my brother, when you read that part about going to school and his teacher going to his teacher, and there was always a place in the back room that he could do the art, and right. It was an honor to hold her purse. But my older brother had that kind of teacher. And where we lived at that time when we were younger, in North Fontana, it's really kind of blighted, this whole thing. So getting on the school bus and going to school meant a lot to him, especially. And he was a reader, he read everything from comic books to novels to, we had books all the time, but he was just like insane about books. And so he had that in Mrs. Brown. Her name was Marsha Brown, and Redwood Elementary School in Fontana. And that was his thing. And that kept him from succumbing to some of the things and really being kind of, overtaking some of the things that we as a family had to go through at that time. So that story really resonated, made me think about the fact that schools are safe places. Right. And they should always be safe places for kids. And sometimes they're safe places for families as well. Sometimes that is, when we think about how many parents, quote unquote, hang around, because sometimes those are the only safe places they can be. So we really have to think about that and make them very welcoming for the entire family, not just the student from 7:30 to 2 or whatever that is, but for the families, because when the families feel safe, when they feel that they're welcome, they're more encouraged to do by their students and support their students and support what goes on in the classroom. So just again, an encouragement to our district to keep doing what they're doing, moving in a great direction, to welcome our families, our students, and do right by our kids. Just excited. Thank you for that reading. And then the last piece, of course, college. Yay, yay. This is October. Yes, we've started the race for the state level, the race to submit with financial aid. Again, last year opening up in October 1st. And then now, of course, college applications for the CSU have opened up, so it's a big deal. And everybody's going crazy. And yes, not every student is going to be UC or CSU eligible. Great thing, Dr. D'Souza, showing that clip about college application day and kids doing community college applications. It's community college is a college. You can learn your technical skills there. You can learn how to transfer to the university. You can do everything at the community college. It is such a great place to be and have that opportunity. And I'm thankful for our district for making the partnership with San Bernardino Valley College, opening up so many more opportunities for us to get kids to get college access even earlier. Whether they decide to go into a university or not, or whether they decide to take up a trade or whatever, but the community college has everything that you need, basically, yeah. Between, if it's not at Valley, it'll be at Chafee or RCC. So within this 15-mile range, you can get anything that you want to as far as a college education or trade or career. And I say that too because this week, I was in my office and we did some presentations at community college for volunteers to join our college advising corps. And a kid came in later into our office and said, hey, it was the first kid, came in with their kid, they're young adults, came in to say, hey, I want to be a part of the college advising corps, such and such, and one of my staffers was doing an intake with them. And then, so of course, I'm always nosy, so I'm like, hey, where'd that kid come from? So I was always ask young people, what high school did they go to, right? That's actually a way for me to remember their name, but I was like, okay, what high school did you go to? And then she said, I went to Carter High School. I was like, oh, wow, Rialto, yay, yay. What year did you graduate? And she said, 2011. And I said, oh, okay. And she said, yeah, I know. It took me a long time to get back here. And she said, but I'm here now. And so I just want to get involved. I want to do what I can. So when you guys did the presentation, I figured even though I didn't go to college straight out of high school, I want to be able to help other kids go straight out of high school. And I was at that moment about to break down, and I'm like, I can't let her see me sweat, So I run back into my office, and everything. But it was just such a pleasure to know that kids are even, she's not a kid. She's, probably 22, 23 years old at this point now. But there's an opportunity for them to connect back in and connect to whatever they want, the passion. And then there's still this mindset about, I still need to give back. So thank you for whoever and all those people who put that into her head to support her, to know that she can always come back, for us to be able to have an opportunity to do that. A great partner in San Bernardino Valley College, so I want us to nurture that, Rialto Unified, so we can get more slots for our concurrent enrollment and all that other kind of stuff. But I'm thankful for the partnership with the city and making this a big deal in our district about submission, because there's an opportunity for everybody, and we don't want to give up on any kid in our district. Thank you. So it is now 8:47, and we are going to move into our public hearing, and we have none. Thank you. Calendar items. All items on the consent calendar will be acted upon in one motion unless pulled by the Board of Education members or the superintendent for individual action. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second with a question.
Okay. Question
on G1.
G1, you want to pull then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't.
Okie doke.
I make a motion. I make a motion that that we approve consent calendar items E through J with the exception of G1.
Second.
Okay, excellent. Okay, we'll vote. Student board member? Preferential vote?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent, motion passes. And we will now just go into discussion on item G1.
Well,
Number
my-
one is to approve the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Improvement Act of 2006, allocation of $222,733 for career technical program improvements during 2017-18 school year.
Right, and my question isn't directly aimed at that, but it's in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Are we using, or do we have students attending the Culinary Arts Academy and the Engineering Academy? Those beautiful state-of-the-art facilities we have over at the PDC area? Because I'm hearing they're not.
I've been spending the last couple of weeks visiting every CTE program in the Rialto Unified School District and even took a look at the facilities that you're referring to. In terms of the culinary arts, we have culinary arts currently at Eisenhower High
Right.
School. I did visit the center and saw that there was a teacher from Rialto with students at the Culinary Arts Center that's down by the PDC. And I have walked the design and manufacturing, and I believe the other facility is engineering with some state-of-the-art equipment. And we're forging a plan for more usage of that facility as we speak. That's an unbelievable opportunity. So it's definitely an area we want to address. I think what you'll find with that type of equipment, I took pictures, I've been sending it to different people, trying to get feedback on what their pathways would really resonate there. It's highly technical type of equipment with a really unique skill set of teachers. And so trying to fit who can kind of give that wow factor to utilize that equipment and lead a certification is definitely the direction we want to go. So I couldn't be more in agreement with you. Need to get
Well,
more in that
and
facility.
I agree with that. It's just we've had them now for maybe 5 years, and we've never fully utilized them. And I'd like to see where all 3 high schools could take classes there. We provide transportation or whatever we need. So if we can kind of work on getting that going, that would be great. It's an awesome opportunity for our kids.
Most definitely.
Dr. Avila?
And I would ask Dr. D'Souza if he's around to, is he still around? Because he has a little bit of the history over the last 5 years. I
Okay.
know that we've
For the center.
made an effort to have the programs there. One of the challenges that we incurred was the double block at the high schools and kids not being able to
Leave campus.
or willing to take those courses off campus because they are involved in other programs. And while we made that effort, I understand that that's the reason why we didn't move forward with a lot of the use of the engineering program, as well as the culinary to maximize usage of that amazing facility.
Well, that has to be built into the pathway somehow, where the kids that are interested in that don't get stuck in a double block where they can't get over there.
And that's what the staff is currently exploring. How can we use it? Because the idea also surfaced last year whether we could take all of the engineering equipment and transfer it over to Eisenhower High School. In the end, we opted not to because it's already set up there in that facility. And so we have to find creative ways to get programs and kids there without it disrupting or totally disrupting their academic program at the traditional schools. So, Dr. D'Souza, if you can give us just a summary of what has taken place.
Basically, I want to know why we're not using the culinary arts and engineering.
Right. So
built.
just to let you know, we visited all 4 schools this week, in the last 2 weeks, to see what their branding is going to be. So Eisenhower is going to be an engineering focus, and we're going to try to transfer some of the materials from the engineering academy to their school so they can do small things there and then come up to the engineering academy and do more, things with finesse there, because there's really good equipment there.
I know there is. I saw it.
So like some of the portable stuff, we're going to move some tables there and some of the 3D printers, etc., so they can become an engineering focused school. Carter High School chose to have a medical career focus. That was going to be their brand. And then Rialto High School is going to be focusing on the law-related careers, law enforcement careers, and then they also have the MESA, which is a thematic unit that they're going to be focusing on. So those are the 3 branding areas. All 3 high schools will have something with a health career related, because that's where if you look at the job markets, that's where the jobs are. And so in terms of the engineering,
I know that because it's more on manufacturing, when you say engineering, it's a manufacturing basis. We are working with Valley College because Mala would like to have that, and that would be open to all 3 high schools. I'm actually meeting someone tomorrow. We met him at the STEP conference. He's a retired engineer, so he's coming to see the building and the equipment because he's interested to see how he can help too. So it's hard finding an engineer, who's retired, but we have to find different ways of recruiting these people. And we met someone at the STEP conference, so we said, come look at our building, see if you can do something with this. And then the culinary, we have that open. We are going to try to do more things with the culinary. And Eisenhower is basically, it's not going to have a culinary, it's going to be focusing on engineering. That is what their focus is going to be.
Well, currently they're the only school with a culinary arts program on the campus. So I think it might be a neat idea to look into opening it up
for all 3
and creating a pathway, possibly the Cal Poly Pomona's School of Hotel and Restaurant Management, feeding into that.
And Cal Baptist has a good one with food sciences too, with food chemistry. So we are looking at both.
But that was a lot of Measure Y money was spent on those 2 things, and I guess with no plan in mind, we just did it. And I hate to see them being underutilized and just kind of a waste.
We are planning some things even with STEM, so we can bring elementary kids there so they can see the engineering, they can do some little cooking at the culinary. We've put in for the garden in front of the culinary to be redone for the herbs, so kids can actually use some of those materials to be able to cook, etc. So we can get kids excited. Part of the thing is to build the STEM academy from elementary to middle to high school, so they can actually get that career cruising at an early age, so then they know how it feeds into when they go to middle school and high school.
Well, I'd just like to see some really strong pathways that utilize both the culinary arts facility and the engineering facility, because, like we say, we have a lot invested in that, and it's awesome opportunity for our students.
Mr. Montez?
And don't take it personal, Dr. D'Souza. We don't hold it against you or anybody else in the district. Really, this is a classic case of poor planning. This was done years ago. What? 6?
At least
5 or 6.
5 or 6.
But the planning, but the plan to build this place was before that, and it was built about 5 or 6 years ago. And what I mean about planning is not building it and utilizing precious resources to build it, but everything else that it was gonna take to really run and use those facilities to its maximum potential. There's a lot of empty classrooms. Those state-of-the-art classrooms there are not the only classrooms not being used. There's many. That's the former Rialto Junior High school, and even though many of the rooms are being used there, there's a lot of rooms that are empty that could be used for many things. I think that facility's got some options for this district moving forward into the future in regards to whether we want to, do something more for that school, whether it's operate an in-district magnet school, or opening up, an overflow, or a secondary continuation. The opportunities are endless, but don't take it personal. We don't hold it against anybody here. We know many of you guys are new in your positions, and many are new to this district. So now that you've inherited these highly fancy, highly technological facilities, help us move and get these good programs and these rich, useful, state-of-the-art classrooms to reach its maximum potential, whether it's partnerships with the community college or the Cal State or universities or whatever we have to do. But we can't continue for it would be a huge travesty to continue to let them collect dust with all of the potential that we know that is there, because many of us have toured those facilities, and we want that stuff to be used. We don't want it to continue to collect dust.
So two other things is, we have a thing with Valley College, partnership, and one of them is to have the engineering opened. So it's not only open to students after school, but it's also open to the community because they can also benefit from those skills with the concurrent enrollment classes. The other thing is to actually have maybe 1 or 2 classes for kids down there, which are common classes, because by going back and forth, they miss on time. So if you have a few classes there, then they can actually take their classes along with engineering or culinary. And so one of the things that this district also needs is to look at a virtual high school and how we can do some of those things and can be open for other kids. And the last thing, as the kids go through their career pathways, we have to look at certification, and that would be a good campus for even to work with Valley to offer certification for those pathway classes so that the kids can actually be certified once they leave and take the test when they're 18, so that they can then go out into the job world if they choose the career rather than college pathway. So those are some of the things we are looking at.
And I saw you, Dr. Avila, just a question. So that was my, about the partnership with Valley College, being able to do the either concurrent enrollment or open up that site just as a classroom site so that we can, not only our students, but our community can utilize that, because both the programs that are offered at Valley as well as the culinary arts, they have a very strong impacted culinary arts program at Valley. But the other thing is, just from our district side, have we explored or even thought about the ROP side? Because we're already, this is Cal Perkins money already, and so we already have an investment there. What's the opportunity for us to be able to look at that, and then working with the county on workforce investment dollars to support a ROP site here? Because the closest one to us that our kids could use is UKIPA ROP, or UKIPA. And, our kids don't go to our UKIPA. So, I mean, they don't have enrollment from Rialto kids in UKIPA.
So one of the things that we did with the Perkins is we visited each school to come up with its branding. So once they came up with their branding, part of the Perkins Fund is to buy equipment for long term so kids can use it. So that way Eisenhower would be able to get more equipment towards engineering. Carter would be able to get more equipment towards medical. And so that's what we were looking at. Because the county some years ago gave up the ROP program. There's no county, and everything is now CTE. We, like pharmacy, tech, etc., we do work with the county on certain things for speciality. But the drift has gone to do more CTE classes, and Kelly Bruce, who's sitting quietly there, actually has a great background with CTE and has been guiding me in that area. So I don't know if you want to add anything more on.
Kelly's like, no.
Thank you, Dr. D'Souza.
You weren't in here, but he already spoken.
No. I look at the challenge as an unbelievable opportunity. I look at the equipment in there. I started just taking pictures, looking at utilizing AutoCAD, Mastercam, the CNC, the unbelievable 3D printing opportunities. We just have to find how to put the pieces together to have the right fit, because it is an unbelievable opportunity. And so we do believe, though, that creating intentional pathways with the buy-in of our comprehensive high schools and continuation high schools is going to be key. And so we're talking to find out what's the best fit with the existing pathways so that it can complement one another. Even the discussion of virtual, if we went with something that was engineering, design and manufacturing, culinary arts, we could potentially look at surrounding it with virtual with the core academic areas. So kids are kind of getting the best of both worlds. I like what you said about from the brains to the hands. It's really that kind of concept, but we have to look at the competencies of the teachers and their passion, because I think to find people that can do some of this work, pretty unique skill set, they're out there. And I'm sure we can grow them here as well. It's just we have to find the right, I always say it's people, not programs.
Right.
This is going to be something very unique. And so we want to find that passionate instructional leader that's really going to own it.
So, and then just the last, to go back to what I was saying about the ROP, or, whether it's ROP, whether it's CT, whatever, still technical and vocational training and certification moving forward. And whether or not we have it in our district itself right now, is there an opportunity, and this is just a hypothetical at this point, to even work with partnering districts? So we've got Fontana on the left, and on my left, and San Bernardino on the right, and Colton back here, that there might be an opportunity with the expertise of them, and they have the access they would have the access to the site as well, and they can, I mean, we could work in as far as funding together. That just may be an opportunity if we don't have the capacity or the passion, even in our district, so that we don't let that go to
Right.
waste, and then 5 years from now, it'll be so obsolete that,
Right.
you know, nobody's even
Public-private
able to use it.
partnerships too.
Right, you're at public-private, Dr. Avila, you wanted to
Just
mention
two quick
something?
things. CRIROC, which includes
Yeah,
UKIPA,
that's
they have
nice.
extended an invitation to have us maybe explore a partnership with their staff.
Okay.
For us to be able to utilize the staff that they currently have if we're willing to cultivate it. The idea did surface last year, maybe the year before, and I want to make sure it doesn't get misconstrued as a done deal. But the idea of, as we are rethinking programs, as we are rethinking milers who panic, to maybe bring them over to that facility,
that site.
create that unit, and have those kids have the programs accessible to those kids there. If we rethink a completely new concept of continuation education.
And don't forget to consider adult ed.
Yep.
That way
Exactly.
could be used
Mhm.
all the time.
So there are lots of ideas out there, and I'm sure that over the next few months we'll be able to come up with some more concrete pathways for it.
Okay. So just pick up that other plate, Dr. D'Souza,
Okay.
and carry it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any more discussion questions or anything for this
No,
item?
thank
Call for
you
the
all
vote.
for your
Okay.
input.
Call for the vote.
Okay. The vote. Oh, we still have to. Where are we at?
Move to
We need to move
approve
yes,
item
number
G1.
G1.
Second.
Okay, and then we'll have preferential vote by Mr. Collins.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes, and now we're moving into our discussion items. Item number 1 for discussion is to approve a 2% increase to the classified hourly daily pay schedule effective October 20th, 2017. This will increase the cost of classified substitutes to the district by approximately $54,827. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on this item? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Ayala.
54,000 doesn't seem like a lot. You know, I think we could do better in the future. Really, I do.
That was just for the substitutes.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
You know, I just needed to say that.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any abstentions? Motion passes. Number 2, to approve the recommendations of the Administrative Hearing Panel. Administrative hearing case numbers 1718-3, 17-18-10, stipulated case numbers 17-18-11, 17-18-8.
Move to approve the administrative hearing and stipulated case numbers as read.
As read? Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Preferential vote by Student Board Member Collins?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions, and we're gone. The time is now 9:06 p.m. Excellent.